Picture this, you're stranded in the desert, lips so dry they could slice bread, and you're thinking, Bear Grylls did it, so maybe I should too. Nope. Chugging your own golden Gatorade isn't just gross, it's actually sabotaging you. Your pee isn't some magical hydration potion, it's literally your body's trash juice. It's the stuff your kidneys worked hard to kick out because it's loaded with salt, urea, and other chemicals that scream, please don't recycle me. So what happens when you gulp it down anyway? You're basically telling your body, congrats on filtering this toxic soap, now do it again. Except this time, your kidneys are already overworked and you're even more dehydrated than before. It's like taking out the garbage, then dumping it back in your living room because you think the trash might have nutrients. Spoiler, it doesn't. And if you're already running low on fluids, your pee will be darker, saltier, and way more concentrated. So congratulations, you just drank salty kidney tea. Instead of buying yourself time, you're accelerating dehydration, increasing nausea, and possibly wrecking your kidneys in the process. The only thing you gain is a horrifying story that nobody actually wants to hear. Basically, drinking pee in the desert is like setting your house on fire because you're cold. Technically, it makes sense for about 2 seconds before everything collapses. Ah yes, the cowboy classic. Someone gets bitten by a rattlesnake and the hero immediately lunges down, slurping like they're trying to get the last drops of a milkshake. Here's the thing, that life-saving move, totally useless and borderline dangerous. Venom doesn't just hang around politely waiting for your mouth to arrive. The second those fangs hit, it's already racing through tissue and bloodstream like it's late for work. You can't vacuum it out, no matter how hard you try. At best, you'll get a tiny bit of venom, maybe. At worst, you'll rip up tissue, spread bacteria from your mouth into the wound, and poison yourself in the process. It's a lose-lose buffet of bad decisions. Plus, think about the logistics. If you've got a mouth sore, ulcer, or even a small cut, congratulations. You just gave the venom a VIP entrance into your bloodstream. Now you've turned one snakebite victim into 2. It's the least effective group activity imaginable. What actually helps? Keeping the victim still, immobilizing the bitten area, and getting medical help ASAP. But sure, if you want to look heroic and give yourself a side of tetanus, go ahead and try the saliva method. Just don't expect Hollywood applause when you both end up in the ER. Basically, sucking snake venom out is the survival equivalent of trying to fix a leaky roof by licking it. Imagine wandering through the woods with no compass, but hey, you've got moss. Everyone's heard that handy-dandy factoid. Moss grows on the north side of trees. Easy navigation, right? Wrong. Moss doesn't give a single fungal crap about the cardinal directions. Moss grows where it's shady, damp, and cool. That might be north, but it could also be east, west, or all over the tree like a bad beard. In the thick forest, moss can be everywhere, wrapping trunks like a mossy sweater. Sometimes it's heavier on the north side, sometimes on the south. Basically, it's playing a game of survival roulette. If you bet your life on it, you might as well flip a coin and hope it lands on not lost forever. Real survivalists use multiple signs, sun position, stars, landmarks, not just moss cosplay. Because if you're depending on greenery for directions, congratulations, you're trusting your future to plant slime. And spoiler, plant slime does not have your best interests at heart. So yeah, next time someone says moss always points north, remember? It's nature's version of clickbait. So, you're stranded in the wilderness, shivering, hungry, and ready to prove you're basically a caveman reincarnated. Time to grab 2 sticks and rub them together until fire magically appears, right? Except, spoiler alert, it's not magic. It's exhausting, infuriating, and 99% of the time, totally useless unless you've trained for it like a weird lumberjack marathon. Here's the truth. Fire by friction works only under super specific conditions. You need bone-dry wood, the perfect type of wood, a perfectly carved notch, and enough stamina to keep grinding like your life depends on it, because it actually does. Oh, and did I mention you'll need kindling so fine it basically looks like belly button lint? Without that, you're just making smoke signals from mosquitoes. And while movies make it look like a quick 30-second effort, real survivalists will tell you it can take hours of sweaty failure. Your hands blister, your arms give out, and instead of fire, you just produce mild disappointment and smoke that makes your lungs hate you. So unless you've been training for this moment in your backyard like a Boy Scout gone rogue, your odds of success are slim. For everyone else, firemaking with sticks is less survival technique and more upper body workout with no payoff. Basically, rubbing sticks together is nature's way of saying, congrats, you invented suffering. Everyone knows the classic advice, if a bear shows up, just play dead. Lie down, cover your neck, and hope it gets bored. But here's the fun little detail people forget. It totally depends on the bear. Grizzlies? Yeah, lying still might convince them you're not worth the trouble. Black bears? Oh, those guys see your little act and go, cool, thanks for the easy snack. Playing dead isn't a universal bear cheat code. It's more like flipping a coin where one side says survive and the other says bear treats. And because most people can't even tell the difference between bear species in the middle of a panic attack, it's a terrible strategy for the average hiker. Also, think about the logistics. You're supposed to lie there, perfectly still, while a several 100-pound apex predator sniffs you like a Lunchable. Your body's screaming run, but the survival tip says, nah, be a corpse. That's like getting mugged and deciding to impersonate an ATM. The real advice? Make yourself big, make noise, back away slowly. Unless you're dealing with a grizzly charging to protect cubs, then yeah, flop down and pray. But if you're in black bear country and try the same trick, congrats, you just auditioned as a burrito. So no, playing dead isn't a blanket survival strategy. It's more like survival Russian roulette. You're swimming in the ocean, minding your business, when suddenly you're living in a Jaws sequel. The shark circles closer and you remember the advice. Punch it in the nose. Easy, except, nope. This isn't some aquatic bar fight. First you're underwater. Punching anything underwater is like trying to slap someone through pudding. Your speed and power are basically gone. Second, sharks aren't just floating targets. They're fast, agile, and have way better aim than you. And even if you manage to connect with that magical nose boop, odds are it's not enough to stop the shark. They're massive muscle torpedoes with teeth, your fist is a fleshy tic-tac. What experts actually recommend is aiming for the eyes or gills, sensitive spots the shark will actually care about. The nose thing got popular because sharks do have sensors there, but it's not like a giant off switch. It's more like poking someone in the forehead. They'll notice, but they're not necessarily leaving you alone. So if you're relying on Hollywood shark punching logic, you're basically bringing a slap fight to a torpedo battle. At least you'll look cool for 2 seconds before becoming chum. You're lost in the mountains, parched, and all around you is crisp, fluffy snow. Perfect, right? Just scoop up a handful and problem solved. Except, nope. Eating snow is like trying to hydrate by licking an ice cube tray. Technically water, sure. Practically, a disaster. First problem, snow is freezing. Your body already works overtime trying not to become a popsicle, and now you're dropping its core temperature with every frosty bite. Hypothermia says, thanks for the assist. Second, snow is mostly air, which means you'd need to eat an absurd amount just to get the hydration you need. Imagine chewing through 10 buckets of snow for the same payoff as a single glass of water. That's less survival trick and more punishment for existing. And let's not forget the bonus features, dirt, bacteria, animal droppings. Yum! If you're unlucky, your refreshing handful of snow doubles as a parasite smoothie. The actual smart move? Melt it first. Melted snow equals safe-ish water. Eating snow directly is just giving your body an ice bath from the inside out. So yeah, if you're trying to stay alive, maybe skip the snow cone buffet. Basically, eating snow is the survival equivalent of paying extra for air at a restaurant. Pointless, chilly, and kind of insulting. You're trudging through a swamp when suddenly you spot it. Leeches, those slimy little vampires of the wild. Survival tip says, burn them off, sprinkle salt, or rip them out before they drink you dry. Except none of that is necessary. In fact, it just makes things worse. Leeches aren't out here trying to kill you. They take a snack and leave, like the world's grossest food truck. Sure, it's creepy, but not life-threatening. The real danger? How you remove them, torch them, salt them, yank them off, and their jaws can rip, leaving little tooth bits inside your skin. Congratulations, now you've got an infection starter kit. The better move is boring. Let them fall off naturally or gently slide them off with your fingernail. Yeah, it's gross, but safer than giving yourself swamp rabies from an open wound. Also, here's a fun fact. Leeches were used in medicine for centuries because their saliva has anti-clotting properties. So technically, they're like nature's tiny, slimy nurses. Horrifying nurses, but still. So if you're out there screaming and setting your leg on fire over a leech, remember, it's not draining you dry. It's just freeloading for a minute. Basically, the leech isn't a survival threat. It's just an unwelcome guest at your blood buffet. You're stranded, thirsty, and you remember that birds always fly toward water at dusk. All you have to do is follow them and voila, hydration unlocked. Except here's the problem, birds don't care about your survival. They fly toward food, nesting spots, or literally anywhere they want. Sure, some species might head for water, but betting your life on their flight plan? Bad idea. Birds are unpredictable little sky goblins. They could be flying toward a puddle, or they could be flying toward a landfill, or they could just be flying because they felt like it. That doesn't really help when you're dying of thirst. Plus, following birds in rough terrain burns more energy and water than you're likely to gain, so it's a net loss. Real survivalists use more reliable signs, geography, vegetation, animal tracks, not winged chaos generators. Birds are basically nature's drunk GPS, sometimes right, often misleading, always confusing. So, unless you want to end up wandering in circles following pigeons to a McDonald's dumpster, maybe don't rely on the feathered Air Force for your hydration plan. Basically, following birds to water is the survival hack equivalent of asking your cat for directions. You've seen it 1,000 times in survival guides. If you're lost, just sit tight and wait. Don't move, don't panic, help will come. Sounds logical, right? Except in reality, this advice can turn you into a human lawn ornament while your odds of being found shrink by the hour. Here's why. Rescues are messy, unpredictable, and often delayed. Maybe nobody even knows you're missing yet. Maybe the search grid doesn't cover where you're sitting. Maybe your location is so obscured by trees, rocks, or terrain that rescuers could pass right by while you're sitting there like a confused garden gnome. Staying put only makes sense if someone knows where you are and you're injured or in serious danger of making things worse by moving. Otherwise, mobility is survival. Finding a water source, higher ground, or even leaving signs like arrows, cans, or smoke massively boosts your odds. Sitting still might feel safe, but it's often the equivalent of waiting for DoorDash in the middle of the Sahara. Nobody's coming, my dude. Plus, your body is burning energy and water whether you move or not. The difference is that sitting in one spot without actively improving your chances is just slowly marinating in hopelessness. If rescue is guaranteed, cool, chill out. But if it's not, you might as well try something.